Think about this. Next time you're stuck in traffic.
The White House is making waves once again, but this time it's not about policy, it's about power. In a shocking social media post, the official White House account declared Donald Trump not just president, but king. And the backlash, immediate and intense.
The White House now proclaims Donald Trump to be king, not president, but king.
At 10:01 p.m., the U.S. Department of Transportation sent an email to New York officials stating that they were shutting down the state's congestion pricing program, a major transportation initiative meant to reduce traffic and pollution. Just a few hours later, at 1:58 p.m., Trump himself tweeted, "Long live the king." New York Governor Kathy Hochul wasted no time firing back.
At 1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. And we sure as hell are not going to start now.
Her message was clear. This is more than a transportation dispute. It's a battle over state sovereignty, independence, and the limits of executive power. Hochul reminded the public that congestion pricing wasn't just about revenue. It was about cleaner air, improved public transit, and protecting vulnerable citizens.
We've been talking a lot about the air quality in our area and just how dangerous it is from a weather perspective.
Yeah, it also can be just as dangerous for your health. So we have ABC's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Jen Ashton, here to talk about it much more. Jen, thanks for coming in this afternoon. You can see how thick that haze is out there. So talk about some of the symptoms that people might be feeling.
So the first thing, and I think Jeff and Lee talked about this in the first half hour, is that this smoke that's particulate matter in the air is very different than, let's say, the air quality from regular pollution or seasonal allergies. That's number one. The second thing is that even people without underlying pulmonary or respiratory conditions can be bothered by that. And the third thing is we've all been dealing with allergies recently, pretty much. So now it's difficult to tell, wow, am I reacting this way because of the smoke, the pollution, the allergy, pollen, or is it an upper respiratory infection? It can be difficult to tell. I think the key thing here is awareness, which is why you guys have been talking about it all day, and to understand that you really want to minimize your exposure right now to outdoor environments. So, keep the windows closed, try to stay indoors. If you have to go out and you're feeling symptoms from this, put on an N95 mask. Unfortunately, they're useful for more things than just COVID.
Wow. And I'm just guessing if you have asthma, you're still at the highest risk. Right?
Absolutely. Underlying medical conditions, respiratory conditions, or asthma.
Meanwhile, Trump's bold declaration of himself as king sparked outrage and mockery. While critics slammed the post as authoritarian propaganda, some of his allies fully embraced the imagery. Even within the Republican Party, the reactions were mixed. Some downplayed the post as classic Trumpian theatrics, while others saw a disturbing shift in political rhetoric.
Let's go to Don Beyer. Put it up. Democratic Representative, Virginia. Real interesting. Wrote on X, quote, "We don't have kings in the USA. Let's just keep that up." We should know this. No one should have to correct the record. Nobody should have to even respond to this in an authentic way. Meanwhile, David Hogg, vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, wrote, quote, "Republicans, stop overreacting and calling Trump a king." Literally, the White House Twitter account, as he reposted a picture of the computer-generated magazine of Trump with the crown and another one. Not everyone disliked the post, however. Taylor Budowich, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, well, posted an AI-generated picture of Trump wearing a jeweled crown and fur-trimmed cape on X. Trump's press secretary also boosted the president's disturbing post on social media. Isn't that cute? All of them are working for their dictator.
Despite the growing controversy, Trump's closest allies, including his press secretary and deputy chief of staff, doubled down, reposting the AI-generated king imagery as if to solidify the message. But the real question remains, where is the outrage from Trump's own base? Imagine if President Biden had posted something like this. Imagine if Obama had. The right-wing media would be in full meltdown mode. But for Trump, it's just another day of owning the libs, or so they say.
In a response to Trump's comments, the New York governor issued a statement saying, quote, "We are a nation of laws, not ruled by a king," she added. Public transit is the lifeblood of New York City and critical to our economic future. As a New Yorker, like President Trump knows very well, okay? So MAGA should be outraged by this display. I want you to imagine if Biden would have posted something like this from the White House official page. What about President Obama? The messages about the Antichrist and the dictator Obama and the illegitimate president, but all of this would have been part of the context. But Donald Trump does it, representing a party that is supposed to be for small government, for government non-intrusion. He decides to do the exact opposite, declares himself to be king on official government platforms, and MAGA says nothing. Well, let's see.
The reality is, this isn't just Trump playing around. When he first announced his candidacy, many dismissed his rhetoric as bluster. When he proposed extreme immigration policies, critics said it was all for show. But time and again, Trump has proven that his words are a preview of his actions.
I know many will say, oh, this is just Donald Trump doing the thing to own the libs and to create propaganda. But they said that when he declared to run for president the first time. And they said it when he talked about his immigration policy or cutting funds from the Department of Education. And the list goes on and on and on. At some point, you have to understand, he's not a complicated individual. He's giving you the blueprint. Deal with it. Now, to the MAGA Republicans, at some point, the ouch has to be talked about, because right now you're suffering too. Those dollars that are being taken away from federal programs, they are being taken away from you and your family as well, the communities that you love. At some point, you must stand up for them to stand against one man. And that will become your dilemma, your moral and ethical dilemma. Are you willing to stand up for yourself, for your children, for your parents, for the elders in your community, or will you simply cower down to one human being? That is you. That is on you.
Now, his supporters, especially those in economically struggling communities, must ask themselves a difficult question. Are they willing to sacrifice their own well-being, their own federal funding, their own rights, all for the sake of one man's power grab? The choice is clear. Will Americans stand for democracy, or will they bow to a self-declared king?